Rise, if you're able, pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Okay, we'll get going here. As we usually do, we start off with an update from Captain Chase, Director of Marine Services. Captain Chase.
Mr. Chair. All right, let's start off with numbers. Current balance in the Shellfish Propagation Gift Fund is $211,902.72. That number includes all of the payments that were due to Bruce Ingram, and it includes two private donations, one from the Westport Point Neighborhood Association of $500, and another one from an individual, Ann Rogers, of $1,000. So I just want to publicly thank both of those folks, all those folks involved for those donations. So that's where we stand right now, 211,902.72. I've been in touch with the Manton Foundation just to kind of introduce myself and say, hey, we're here. What's going on? I want to make sure we don't miss any deadlines, requirements, so on and so forth. They've been very engaging. They did confirm to me just yesterday something that I already knew. I think we all already knew. The last $100,000 disbursement from this 5-year grant will be delivered to us on the 1st of April, and that is the last disbursement from this grant. As far as rewriting this grant, they say they describe it as a rolling grant. There is no specific timetable for this. I have until February the 15th to submit the report to them for all of the activities from this previous year. That I will have before the end of the year. So before 12/31, they will have the complete report of what this relay has accomplished and all the propagation activities have accomplished so far this year. You all have a copy of this. This is something I submitted to Rick and to Terry O'Neill and to Matt Camissa. These are the actual numbers from 2025's relay. I gave all these numbers out earlier. The total amount was 3,665.5 bushels. This report breaks down where all of them were planted and the individual totals for the individual relays. By the way, I gave a copy of this to Bruce as well, in case he had any issues with what these numbers are. But in case you don't know, every time we take a load of Cohawks of Bruce, we get a receipt from him, signed by me, or whoever's driving, and it's supposed to be verified by a Shellfish constable from Swansea. That doesn't always happen. So when I gave this to Bruce, I said, just match these numbers up with the receipts that you have. And he said, well, some of my receipts are still drying out in the basement because they went down with the ship. Anyway, I brought that up to Matt Camissa, and he goes, I'm going to go with your numbers. So all the receipts that we have collected are here, and I have audited these myself. So I believe these are all correct and true. So that's the result of 2025's relay activities. You'll see it's 54 different days. The average delivery was 67.8 bushels, which is 10% less than the previous year, which was 75.5. And you guys should all also see that within this package, there is a chart there that I tried to determine some kind of a trend. This chart that you're looking at right here, these are the day-to-day numbers. And I was just looking for a trend to kind of see what might be happening here. On top of that, the next page is the cost per bushel. This is the one that gets my attention the most, and I suspect it may get yours as well. The cost that we pay per bushel of contaminated cohogs back in 2017 was $17 a bushel. Right now, it's $28.50. And you'll see a percent increase to the right. I was just trying to track, how quickly this number accelerates just to try to project what 26 and beyond would cost. So you can see that it doesn't take much to figure out it's going to be $30 a bushel before long.
Is that percent increase year over year?
That's year over year.
Wow, that's a lot.
So, yeah, so there was a big jump, 1920, I don't know what that was, or why it was. The next year was 0, but I think the average increase is about 4.4%, if memory serves. So it's something to bear in mind, because it's getting expensive.
Yeah, not to interrupt you, but I don't even see a pattern here with this percentage increase. This is like, these are numbers, I question where they come from. I mean, I know where they come from, don't get me wrong. What I'm trying to say is that
How
in
are they
18, we have 5.9, then we go back down to a 2.8 increase. This is not how the economy runs. Then we go to 24, then we go to 0, which is COVID, okay, so we can give them that. Then 6.5, then back down to 2, then up to 4, that's a 100% increase. And then up to 9.6, that's
over 100.
over 100%.
Which is why I thought best to put these numbers in front of you guys, so you get a sense of what these are.
So I guess my
These
question
numbers
is-
came off the actual contract with Bruce going back to 17. I don't have anything before that. Perhaps Chris does somewhere, but that's what was in the computer, and that's what was in the hard copies that I have.
Well,
of
well,
the
not being
actual
critical,
contracts.
but what I see out of this is there has to, going forward, there has to be some negotiation here, because these numbers are coming out. I'd like to know, and there's nobody here that's going to be able to answer my question, is why are these numbers all over the map? If you were running a business, Skip, you're a businessman, I mean, lobster went up 24 point,
I mean, just going off cost of living, like, everything in society, it's a standard amount.
yeah, and there's no rhyme
I
or
don't
reason.
understand why we went from 2.8% to
Makes sense.
24.3.
Well, we asked, if you look at,
COVID?
2025 was up
next year is
9.6%.
I think the next year was at
Maybe
0.
gasoline or diesel fuel probably doubled that year or something.
Was the 24% COVID?
I honestly
No, the
wasn't.
next
the
year,
next year was
21 would
zero.
be, the 0 would be the COVID year.
Yeah. So how did we go from 3% to 24, and then we went from 4% to almost 10?
One thing I know
It's kind of
for,
irrelevant at this point, but moving forward, it's nice to have that.
you got to have some kind of context,
Right, yeah.
right? You got to know what you're looking at.
It's a negotiating point for us.
So last year, just in 2025, we were up 9.6%. And I remember sitting right where Ron is sitting right now, voting on this, saying, is this negotiable? Apparently, it was not.
I remember.
So I think Chief's point is a very good one.
Well, he's got no competition.
Yeah, we've got one supplier.
Yeah.
And he just had
He
to put a
can
lot of
name
money
his-
into his boat,
name his
so
price.
Yeah.
it could be a big thing next
There's
year.
not really any option, really.
But one negotiating
Not
point we
yet.
do have
Yeah, not
is
yet.
we're his biggest customer. And that's a pretty strong negotiating point.
Well, I think if.
Anyway, these numbers are good. You don't want to go in a gunfight without bullets and a gun. And these are
Do we
these
know?
are good numbers.
Do we know if he's charging that same amount to the other towns?
My understanding is yes, Ron, but don't hold me to that one. It would be kind of weird if it's like, if we're the biggest customer paying the biggest amount, what kind of fools would we
I think
be?
he was charging a delivery.
I know that Matt Camissa oversees this whole thing, and he would be the guy to ask, is everybody paying the same $28.50? Or is that just our contract with Bruce? I don't know the answer to that, but I know where to get it. So that's 2025 as I know it. If anybody has any contrary numbers to this, by all means, let's hear it. But that's what we have right now
The last 2 years.
The last page is telling,
with the.
with the graph
graph.
and the cost and the spike, and nice work with this little pamphlet.
Context, gotta have context, right? Speaking of Bruce, let me give you a few Bruce notes. I met with Bruce on the 1st, week ago, yesterday, at his home in Fairhaven. I needed to deliver the check to him to kind of expedite things. We do things to help him out in that regard. Chris always did that, and I will continue to do what we can to grease the wheels and make things work smoother. He still has the issue of the insurance policy that has not been settled yet. Everybody's lawyered up at this point. His insurance is through Mass Lobstermen's Association, which most of us are aware of. But that issue has not been settled yet. On top of that, there's an issue of an environmental fine, I guess is not the word he used, but he led me to believe that there are others who would like to speak to him financially about that whole series of events. And I think we can all understand that you spill just a little bit of oil here, it gets very expensive really fast. So I know he's dealing with some of that as well. You know, but he's the kind of guy, and I think we've all seen it, you think he's down for the count, these guys just keep coming back and coming back. So I guess what I'm trying to say, gentlemen, is I have no idea whether or not he will continue next year or not. That's out of my purview. Once I hear something, if I do, I'll certainly pass it on. If I were to put odds on it right now, I'd say probably 50-50. So hopefully he gets through all this, and we continue with business as usual. I just don't know. I can't give you any answer right now.
Just as a follow-up to that, Cap, I think this is important, that we keep in contact with our both personal and professional relationships with the state since they oversee this whole project. And if anybody's going to have a sniff as to where it's going to go, our contacts with them. So, I think that's something we, keep our eyeballs on, because they'll know out front. They'll know before we even get to the contract stage. Because right now, he's a sole source provider. And puts everybody, all the way down Cape, all of us, even though we're the largest customer.
No, very good point, Chief, and you know as well as anybody, we have a great relationship with these guys.
Yeah.
My conversation with Matt Camissa was pretty enlightening. He did say one thing of note, that is Fairhaven did not get any cohogs after Bruce got up and running again. They all came to us. We took everything from the time he restarted.
Do you know what date that was, that he got up and running again?
They do. It's right in front of you, actually.
October 22nd?
October 27th, so Friday, August 8th to Monday, October 27th.
When we ended this, when we started.
Pretty much down for 2 months.
Bill, do you know, is he fishing now?
30 and 33.
Does he,
Chris, you mentioned something about doing clean cohog fishing
Yes,
off of Swansea, but I don't know when he did that
Okay.
or to
Yeah,
what kind of
it's not
success
that-
he had.
when the relay stops, he still fishes?
No, he's still got the
Yeah.
clean cohogs to deal with as well. And I know he gets more out of those.
You know what's interesting to me, though? The reason I asked that question was because after he got back up and running, we were the only customer, so to speak, and the bushels didn't increase. You would think they would.
Well, there's a graph in there, Skip, for that as
Yeah.
well.
But I mean,
yeah, but I-
when he started up again, it was 33, 18, 61, 71, 67, 35. So you would think that it would have jumped because, or at least been more often. But he
Well,
must
he-
have had trouble after he got going,
He
trying
did.
to get back in the groove.
He did. He had a couple of tough days.
Yeah, right
there.
there.
It's as you would
Probably a good
expect.
thing we were the only customer because it was very sporadic after that, and it probably would have been way worse.
Well, I think the reason we were the only customer, my understanding is that Fairhaven said, we can't do it at this point, and I don't know what that reason was. So we were the only game in town for him. So going to Chief's point, yeah, we need to be negotiating here, not just saying, okay, we'll pay it. And I would go beyond just the financial side of things. The responsibility, if you look at the contract, the responsibility for keeping the boxes intact, keeping the trailer going, and the whole safety issue is on him, not on us. But we've done a lot of things to, again, to grease the wheels to keep this thing going as smooth as we can.
Including taking light boxes.
With that, isn't that the biggest issue, though, Chris? We've had this discussion, we never did get to weigh those like we wanted to at the very end.
I think before the next contract is signed, that ought to be addressed, that,
Well, but that number is in all of the contracts. It's supposed to weigh 40 pounds,
Right.
period. Do they? I think we could all say, probably not. So how do you go about ensuring that that's the case? How do you kind of keep them honest, for lack of a better term? I'm all ears if somebody's got ideas. But certainly that needs to be part of the discussion before.
John used to count them, John
I remember he
Warden.
did, yeah.
wasn't that more for a cull, the size?
Size, yeah.
Yeah, that was for size, so.
Gonna put a line in a box. Gonna weigh the box and maybe put a line. So
Yeah.
we get an idea how far it goes to where 40 pounds is. So
Good
you
idea.
know it really. Have some kind of a line there, maybe.
Yeah, good
You
idea.
know what I mean? So far up, then you know
Definitely.
40 pounds. Guys fill it pretty much somewhat.
Well, you got, his typical crew is, I'm sure they're not making sure they're all 40, right? They're just stuffing the boxes and stacking them up.
That's
right?
why he had slack days, because he lost a few crew. Then when he got back up to 61 and 70, he was back to almost normal. But with the 30 boxes, remember? Guy quit that time.
I think it's also time, Paul, to your point, when we enter into this, if we enter into this contract and agreement with him, we can say those boxes weigh 40 pounds. For those of us that touch those boxes every day, half of them are filled with mud,
Yeah, oh yeah.
and you can have a box that's half full, you dump it, it's filled with mud.
Well, maybe, I think that's probably on us to make sure.
We got to keep him
Keep 'em
sometimes you have to
clean.
hold his feet to the fire, but
So here's just a thought. What if you weighed 10 boxes and used that average to say, you're 10% below average? So if you're 10% below average, you owe us 10% on the next load.
yeah.
I don't know if that's doable or not, but something like that has got to be in place.
It only has to happen once or twice, and then it'll be,
He's going to.
you won't have to worry about it.
Right.
They're not gonna like it.
Because at that point, the contract is in our favor. And
I think
he's
the
gotta
contract should always be in our favor, right?
Yeah.
He's going to he's got to live up to his signature.
I mean, right down to the taillights on the trailer, that, I used to lose sleep over that. No brake lights, no taillights, And you bring it up to them, it's like, oh, well, it was working yesterday. No, it wasn't. So stuff like that's got to be addressed as well. This is a safety issue. Anyway, so let me talk about the actual cost of what this was. So 3,665.5 boxes of Cohogs cost us $104,466.75. On top of that, we spent $9,900 on Cohog seed from Muscongas Bay. And that total is $114,366.75. That's what we spend for actual shell stock, right? But there's more to this that we have to consider. If you want to look at the whole picture of how much did this relay cost, you have to consider a couple of things. First of all, I know for a fact that the distance from the state boat ramp to the dock in Fall River is 25.6 miles. We are driving that 4 times every single day we do a relay. So we're driving 100 miles just to execute the relay. We did 54 trips, 5,400 miles. We take you from here to Seattle and back to St. Louis. A little bit of context there. The total hours involved are about 4 hours for any given relay. So, you leave the shack at 1300, by the time you get back to the shack, it's probably 1630. So let's use 4 hours for the sake of argument. That's 216 hours of driving. Now, if this department is paying an assistant harbor master $21.49 an hour, that amounts to $4,641 just to pay for the driver. The gallons of gasoline, I figure about 317. I'm using 17 miles to the gallon in that truck. It's probably less than that. And there's, at $2.80 a gallon, there's another $900. So if you want to tally up the total cost of what this cost the Shellfish Propagation Fund, it's $119,000, almost $120,000 for 3,665 bushels and 220,000 cohog seed.
The salaries aren't paid by the propagation.
They are not, but somebody's got to drive. And somebody's got to get paid to drive.
Okay.
I mean, if I asked Kevin, and Kevin drove quite a bit, he's serving at that princely sum of $21.49 an hour. If I'm driving, it's 2.5 times that. If Rick's driving, it's twice that. So there is an expense there that's got to be considered.
Yeah, I think we should look into eliminating one of the trips there by buying boxes.
Well, as one of the primary drivers, I'm all ears.
Yeah. Just,
So one of the trips is just to return boxes and trailers?
exactly.
You got to bring the trailer back, because the boxes are on the trailer, they load them up at 0600, and then they take off.
So when you
We
get
need
to
another
the
trailer.
pickup point, is the trailer loaded?
No.
No, we help.
So it
load.
doesn't matter if the trailer's there or not?
The trailer
Before you-
could, the
before
trailer
you
could go
arrive.
up the
Yeah.
next day.
It could go up the next
If we
day.
had our own trailer and boxes, we'd be ahead, right?
You still got to get the boxes on the boat from the trailer.
No, I understand that.
At
I'm just saying,
0600.
If we had a trailer and we had the boxes, we could eliminate that expense of having to go back up and return the,
You need twice the number of boxes that he requires.
just to leave a load with him.
Right, so let's say he has a great day, he has 90, he needs 180 boxes.
Yeah.
Right? So you'd need 360 to make that all happy, and I know the estimate that you found, Ron, was pretty pricey. Is there an alternative to that? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I stopped looking since it was the end of the season, but you might know.
Yeah, we can get.
We're doing it backwards. We're going up there, and we're waiting for them to come in and offload to us. Whereas it should be the other way around. We're going up there, and they should be waiting for us to offload, like any exchange of merchandise. So if they come in on time, that's great. If they're early, they're upset because they've got to wait around. They're still getting paid. If we're late, if we're early, we wait around. So, it's a tough, you forget the timing. The point is that we're doing it backwards. And we're waiting on them. We're serving them. It should be the other way around, in my opinion. When we show up, those boxes, when we show up, they should be loading those boxes on that trailer, or that trailer should be loaded for us. If you were driving a tractor trailer, you don't sit around and wait for it to be loaded. You pick up the load and you're gone. And, that's taking a lot of time, our time. If we had the extra boxes, we could solve that.
If you with all your figures and stuff, if you figured I know you can pay for delivery, would that save money overall with the gas and the trips and the hours?
I was just going to bring that up, Ron. Yes, you could, but I don't know what that number is.
And how inconvenient it may be if they don't show up on time, then we're sitting down the ramp waiting for 2 hours.
All volunteers, by the way.
Yeah, exactly, and your boat broke down, whatever, he's getting towed in, he doesn't have a cell phone, didn't call anyone. At least when you're in control of your own destiny,
No, but instead you're
No,
just
I-
waiting for him in forever if he breaks down.
same thing.
Yeah.
No, if I added up the amount of hours I sat there waiting for him, because he's supposed to be there at 13:45, never works out that way. It was hours and hours over the course of the season. So Is it financially sensible to ask him to deliver them? We need to find out. It certainly would save this department a whole lot of time because we have to spend a half a day every day that there's a relay on. And that's a big burden. I know if Chris was sitting right here, he'd be shaking his head, yeah.
Well, we have a baseline number, the numbers you just provided. We know what it costs in miles, we know what it costs in time, we know what it costs in fuel. So if, let's just say that number's $10,000, just throwing it out, and he's charging us 15, and we know where the hustle is. So we have a baseline, so we should maybe talk to him about that, and then see where he can keep those numbers, in your back pocket.
I don't see any reason why, if he was agreeable, that we couldn't bring him, maybe not necessarily here in this setting, but maybe we could get him down the shack and just talk about the details about this and give him the whys and the wherefores. And how, if you want to continue working with us over the years, because now we're looking at maybe a new five-year grant window, I don't know yet. But that is not just a good thing for us, that's also good for him. So we have some negotiating leverage in my view. And I don't see why we couldn't just have a little face-to-face on this one.
I'd like to take it a step further and have a conversation with the state and see what the fishability is of that area. If we look at these numbers, some of us around here remember days of 100 bushel, constantly hundreds of bushels a day, and now we're at 2/3 of that. Is it getting fished out? Does the state think it's being fished out? If we enter a 5-year contract and it's fished out in 2 years, what happens then?
That's a really good point.
It's
Well, then you got a lot of money for quahog seed.
Yeah.
not a lot of time.
You can't buy what they don't catch.
Yeah.
So you all have the graph of the day-to-day. This is the 2024 report that Chris had put together, and I just kind of quickly put these dates and numbers down, and I created a graph for 2024. I didn't bring it because it's a little depressing, because it makes the point that the 90 bushel days may be at an end.
We had days when we used 2 boats.
Yeah. I remember one of my first days helping out was with 2 boats, both Carolina skiffs.
And it came in,
So what happens if Bruce delivers? Does he drop the trailer off and leave? Because you gotta put him on the boats, you gotta take him out, you gotta dump him, you gotta come back, and then you gotta put the empty containers ashore.
Or you'd have to sit there and wait for it. It doesn't take long.
Exactly, so now he's getting into, does he drop the trailer and then we put the containers back in the trailer and he comes back, picks the trailer up, it's gonna be the same complaint on his end. You know what I mean? Because he drives all the way down here, he's got 75 bushel on there. Everybody does a chain gang and gets them off onto the skiff, and then what does he do? Sit there and wait until we steam halfway down the river, dump them all out? That can take hour
and we
and a
have the
half.
boxes. And we have the boxes.
And we have the boxes, otherwise, it's almost like you need to have, in order for him to do it and make any progress with it, is you'd have to have double the boxes right then, so he could dump the boxes, and the next time he comes down, we put the empties back on, or maybe we invest in our half of the boxes so that we can have them in. It seems like there's a little bit of negotiating.
Well, I think doubling the boxes is definitely a solution. How we work that out logistically, we're just
Yeah.
gonna have to see.
We do have a price on that, Ron, you got a price on the boxes. So we,
I'm still looking, like I said, but you might have some, I went right to the manufacturers, I didn't go through like,
Yeah, Uline or one of them.
yeah, and like the guys that make the Home Depot buckets and stuff, but there was still a lot of money.
Probably get them out of Canada. And Canada would probably manufacture those pretty cheap.
There's a lot of them
Same
too
thing
have
would make all
a,
the
have a
crates and
minimum,
totes.
have a minimum, and even 100 is
Yeah.
below their minimum.
yeah, I was surprised at the minimum, and your thought was
I guess they sell them to a whole
Crazy
a town, like 1,000 boxes.
Yeah.
And it isn't worth their effort to just manufacture 100,
I think if you get the right manufacturer, they'll do it though.
yeah.
It's just like buying those log tech crates. Some guys buy 1,000 at a time, some guys buy
But there's
100.
nothing in the fishing industry that's comparable to that size. I don't think that
Not really.
guys would use their, totes or crates and stuff.
No, not rigid like that, you know? There are comparable containers, but.
And you gotta
not
get
as
the ones
rigid.
that
Stack,
you can stack
Yeah,
them.
that's the
They
thing.
nest.
yeah.
That's the
Nest,
thing.
nesting, yeah, that's what you call it.
Or maybe in the whole process of negotiation, we say, Bruce, you gotta keep 2 sets of boxes for us.
That's a cheaper way out for him.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what you were saying, Ron, I know the numbers, the volume, the minimum that they were, just in your basic research, but but that's not an issue for us, that's, could be an issue for the provider, whoever that is. But,
So that's what I have for the numbers. I just want to throw out one other little tidbit for your consideration. $211,000 sounds like a lot of money. It is a lot of money. And we'll have another 100,000 April 1st. So let's call it 311 for the sake of argument.
Where'd the last 100 come from?
The last 100 will be deposited on the 1st from the Manton Foundation, the 1st of April, as it has been in the past.
Okay.
But that is the last
Last
in
one.
that series. So, again, I've been very much in touch with these folks. They seem very engaging and very helpful. So whatever they need after the report is submitted, as far as the next potential grant, I'll be all over it. We do have to consider, I think you all should consider, this is just my personal opinion, if that does not happen, there needs to be some money for a rainy day. And one of the things I agreed with Chris on is that he looked at this propagation fund in a very conservative sense financially. We got to keep something for a rainy day. Let's not just draw this down just because we can. Shell stock didn't make it this year, as we all know. We're all part of that. And so that money didn't happen as well. So I think this is a time to be cautious, conservative, and think about money for a rainy day.
So
Because I think we're at a precipice here. This could go one way or the other.
I agree with you, Bill, and one thing that I was advocating for in the past was, I think it's important, one of the thoughts of Shell stock when it was originally came to inception was, I think it, and I could be wrong, but tell me what you guys think, I think it's important that we establish sooner rather than later a seed program, whether it's, you know, small seed or whatever, because it's just what you're saying. If at some point, let's just say Bruce in 2 years says, I can't do it anymore, I'm retiring, we don't have a backup, all of a sudden, we're gonna go through a couple of gap years where, until the seed reaches maturity, we're gonna fish out the river. So I think that it's important for us now, even though we need to have money for a rainy day, we don't wanna blow all the money on just buying seed right now and then have the bottom fall out of it, but I think it's more important now to raise more money. But also, I think it's important to get some type of a seed program going so that in 3 or 4 years, we're harvesting that, as well as the bushels that we're getting from relay and everything else. But I think that right now, we've bought some seed in the past, but I don't know how much of our fruits of our labors we've seen from that.
I don't think any of us do.
You know, but I do think that we need to start getting, you know, 500,000, 1 million seed every year and spending 100,000, 150,000 on that. I don't know where the money's gonna come from, but we all have got other irons in the fire with Shell stock, but
Well, when the Manton Foundation weighs in, assuming they do, and says, I've got 4 more years for you guys, 5 more years,
But
we
it-
can kind of be a little more liberal.
yeah, just taking your numbers though, 3665 is what Manton Foundation paid for this year, because that was about 100 and something thousand, and that's what the grant was.
Oh, we spent more than what they gave us, there's no.
Yeah, exactly, but I'm just saying, we can say for I mean, and probably less, given the rate of increase per bushel,
Is that,
you know, it's gonna be even less, so it'll be down to 3,000 bushels is what 100K gets you soon. You know?
One of the things to answer you, to address what you're talking about, Skip, is that we have had conversation about changing up the numbers a bit and putting some money, not all of it, but some money into seed, but seed of a larger size, of a sustainable size, so that, one, it will sustain itself, it won't be subject to predation, and two, it'll save a year, 18 months on its grow-out. And when we deposited the seed this, when did we do it? Chris, when did we?
that was,
August?
it's in my phone. It was, no, it was October.
Was it October? Was it that late? We, we deposited that seed in places where we have a good feeling that it's going to take, and, kind of an experiment, but we gave it some serious thought on where we put it, and historically where it has grown in an area that could grow out in 2 or 3 years. So we're having that conversation, but we really, I agree with you, we need to get deep into that
We
conversation.
do, we need to start having a seed program where they're about the size of a quarter. You know?
It was September 30th, Chief, we did that.
September, that late?
September 30th, yeah. We did, Rick and I looked into the cost of growing them out bigger. So for 10s to 14s, you're looking at $45 per thousand. If you want to go to 25s, the number that I got from Liz was $75 per thousand. So you want the bigger ones, you're going to pay dearly for it.
Yeah.
So where's the balance in there? I don't know.
That's an imponderable,
Yeah.
We have to do some experimenting.
yeah. I mean, what we put out was.
Yeah, but no, maybe Carrion
Yeah,
would
I
be
mean, it
interested
was
in
the size of
growing
your.
some out. You know, just a thought, but he's got the resources to do it. He might say, hey, yeah, I'll throw a dozen shelves in there for you and see how they go. And
Well, that's a
Oh,
perfect
and it-
definition of a public-private partnership. There's nothing wrong with that.
No,
Oh, if you guys could weigh in on that issue, Mr. Chair, about do we want to spend the money on the bigger ones? Do we want 220,000? Do we want 440,000? She needs an answer, so. if you
Well,
guys could
that's
weigh
certainly a discussion we should have going forward, and sooner than later. Certainly not for tonight's agenda, but certainly something that should probably be on the next meeting, which we will set before we leave
I
tonight.
would say, just before we close that, we would want to go with the 440. Now, while the relay program is in effect and working, we can probably get away with a smaller seed.
Yeah.
Because we do have a couple of years of the bigger stuff coming. And then we would have to keep saving money, and then if we do come into a gap year, that's when we want to go to the bigger stuff.
Yeah.
So we can jump up. Just my thought.
Well, that's all I have, Mr. Chair. That's everything that I know.
I got one more question about the relay. If he quits, is the state gonna look for another dredge boat, or?
The conversation I had with Matt Camissa the other day was there is nobody else. Would there be? Maybe if we all looked really hard, possibly. I talked to CB the other day about Al Rancarel. Al is very much into the whole dredging world. Maybe he could put us on to someone if Bruce can't answer the call. But I think based on what we.
Somebody would step up, we'd just move on.
Kevin Mello.
I know, I've had that bug in his ear for years.
Yep.
I keep telling him, you complain about the lobster, and so why don't you do that?
And I got to jump in here and kind of temper the meeting a little bit here. Are you all set, Cap?
I'm all set, thank you.
Okay, if nobody objects, it is a public meeting, we're in public session. If there's no objection, I'm going to enter your report into the notes that are done, when they're done, and I'll put them on a public website so everyone can see them. It is a public meeting, we're in public session, so, in compliance. Okay, thank you, Captain, I appreciate that. The information's good, we'll share it with the world who wants to look on the website. Moving on, very quickly, item number 3, discuss the oyster revitalization project. This is just a heads up that on Monday night, a week from last night, the Nature Conservancy and the Department of Marine Fisheries will be making a presentation in front of the Select Board to get their approval on the reuse of the river for the oyster revitalization project. Just to bring you a memory back, this board voted unanimously in support of it. Captain Chase invited me to the Harbor Advisory Committee, and we talked about it. I gave a synopsis of what they gave me, working off of the presentation from the state, and we got unanimous support from the Harbor Advisory Committee. So we'll be going into that meeting next Monday night with unanimous support of the two groups that really are involved in this and should be involved in this and have a stake in this project. So
What time is that, you know?
that's it. Well, the meeting starts at 1800. The agenda hasn't come out yet that I've seen. Have you seen it, Cap? Hasn't come
Oh, it's
out.
at
I
a
wouldn't-
regular selectman meeting?
Regular
Oh, it's
selectmen.
not something special?
Yeah, no.
We are on the agenda, I know
Yeah.
that much.
We're on the agenda, I just don't know exactly what time it is. So that was just an informational purpose. This keeps coming up, item number 4. I just want to clarify one thing before we open it for discussion. Item 4 is, I'm getting ahead of myself. Number 4, discussion relating to future planning of Ship's Rock, Sunk Rock relay area as well as other areas. So I'm going to open that up for discussion for future planning, and when we can combine some items here, and when we want to talk about opening other relay areas. So let's talk about the future planning of Ship Rock, Sunk Rock. Is there any conversation relative to that? It is still open, and it's going to stay open as an overflow or an emergency, in case things go south for whatever
Plant
reason.
there, do we?
I'm sorry?
Nothing to plant there, do we?
Well, whether we want to plant in the
We
future.
didn't plant there this year, it's open now,
Yeah, it's open, but
so I don't,
Kind of put
I
the
think,
cart before
yeah,
the horse, isn't it?
exactly. I don't really see a decision being made here about
Yeah,
things that are way down the road.
okay.
We can definitely talk about it when we get the
Yeah.
relay going again,
Yep.
for one thing, so,
And how much of a relay we have operating at that
Yeah.
point in time.
yeah. But
It came up and it came up again, so that's why it's on the agenda. Dean, you have anything?
Yeah, there's no sense in making it a formal shut it off. Just leave it flexible.
Okay. Oh, it's going to stay open. I mean, it has to stay open.
Yeah.
You know, it
it
does.
will remain as a relay area.
Yeah. just
Yes,
not- just
in
not
order to
used.
change that,
Yeah.
it's above our pay grade.
Right.
It's just that
That's what VMF
some people complain that it's too hard to get the cohocks out. But if you work at it, you can get your limit, so.
sometimes you need areas like that
Yeah.
so that they spat.
It's also very healthy.
Yeah.
It is a very healthy area. The cohogs all have growth rings, white, so, anyway, let's talk about that.
So, do I hear a motion to table it?
I make a motion to table number 4, discussion relating future planting of Ship Rock, Sunk Rock relay area.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on. Number 5, discussion, opening dates of future relay areas. That's,
So the only area you got really that's fully planted is David Road.
yep.
And ready.
That's the ace in the hole,
Yeah.
and there aren't many cars after that.
So one other thing about David Road is if we open it in the summer months, people had their boats on the moorings. And we planted a lot of stuff right near the moorings. In
Yeah.
the past, that's caused conflict.
Yeah, it is,
Yes. So what do you guys think?
Well, what I think about that is, those people pay taxes, they probably wanna dig there too. So if we start this, opening it when they don't have their boats there, later on, is that kind of, you know what I mean? It's an area for, you gotta have an area for everybody to dig sometimes, right? So,
The 300,
that could be conflict, because you say, well, we're not gonna open it till all you guys take your boats out.
Oh, you know, to
You're
your,
in my front yard and we're paying taxes for that piece, we wanna dig there too. So, you can go back and forth both ways in that deal.
to your point, Paul, that's an excellent point, because there's 300-plus recreational licenses
John
out there.
Gifford digs there, and he likes to go in that big area, so,
Something to be said for that.
well, that's iffy.
Oh,
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Chair, if I might, I left this out, this is kind of important to this whole issue. I've mentioned in the past about the issue of how long the quahogs have to stay on the bottom before they can be legally harvested. I had that conversation with Matt Camissa, and he said, I can guarantee you that 2026, that will not change. So it
It will
still
not
be-
change.
Will not
Will not
change.
change.
Be 61 days, 60 days plus the sunrise.
Okay.
So we
Good
last
news.
planted in David Road a total of 1,136.5 bushels, November 18th of this year. That was the last deposit we made in David Road, so going forward, 61 days, 2 months. So we got November, December, January. It's fair, it can be fair game if we decide to open anytime after February, to be safe.
I don't know what
November
you guys think.
18th, so December
May.
18th, January
Yeah, how about
18th.
late spring? And then Paul's point, we can take into account, late spring.
Like the third week in May.
How long does it take to clean out David Road? How many weeks
Well,
fishing?
you can't, because you got a yard of rain closure.
Yeah, well, let's just say,
Yeah.
let's just say best case scenario, because if it goes longer, that's good. But the shortest time period to fish that out,
Yeah, it's hard to say.
1,100
You never
Fishing
fish
days,
out any of the areas.
Right.
right.
Always something there.
Yeah, so
Never
1,150.
gets, you know, it gets
Is it 2
knocked
months,
out.
though? Is it 2 months?
That could be longer.
Yeah,
Depends
it
how
could
many
be
times-
longer.
If you do it
It's
in
a-
May,
it
you
goes-
got till the middle of July.
Yeah.
So middle of May goes to the middle of July, should cover,
And
should
further,
scratch everybody's back?
there'll be, depending on the closures, there'll be interest in that area for, as long as it's open.
Yeah.
And to that point, Chris, we currently still have Ship's Rock open, we still have Great Island, even though that's subject to a .2. So we would have 2.2 areas open, 2.2 areas that are closure areas. So if we were to open David Road, as you mentioned, Ron, or
Yep.
Skip, we would still have a sizable amount of open area, because Great Island, Paul, you know better than anybody, hasn't been fished out because of the point, it's a .2 area.
There's more to go there.
There's more to go, and Chris, you've been up there, you've been up there.
We ain't never gonna get it all. No.
And that's the only drawback, is it's a closure area,
Yeah.
you know, it's restricted to some degree.
I don't know, what do you think? Third week in May?
Well, maybe we should think about it a little bit more. Do you have to make a decision
No,
today?
no, we don't have to. We could change, if we
We've
did
got
make a
time.
decision, we
Oh,
can,
yeah, think it out a
Yeah.
little bit, you know?
We've got time.
We have time because we just, literally, we just opened
Yeah.
Half Moon.
uh,
So,
the idea being, it's not gonna open up earlier than May.
No need to, really,
yeah,
right?
Right.
And the business starts to pick up again, the
Yeah,
seafood business.
summertime.
Yeah.
Yep.
and hopefully we'll be back in the relay business by May.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
You know.
We can close.
We can close and then open and figure out.
And we should
So-
have an answer from Manton by then, correct? So we'll have a lot of answers by then.
Yeah.
The foundation, the relay, a lot of things that we'll know. And if all of those things fall through, then maybe we push it back.
Okay. So I'd like to make a motion to, say, table the opening, deciding on an opening date for David Road till further discussion,
Maybe we'll put it on the agenda for our next meeting, and that'll give us, whatever that is, we can put it on an agenda going forward.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Yeah. I hear a second. Any more conversation? Discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Okay, moving on. This is the big one, temperature restriction. I just want to clarify this before we go any further, and then we can, just a little something to chew on before we open this discussion. I took Ron's list of members of the Massachusetts Shellfish Organization, and I went to all their websites. Not all of them. I didn't do the North Shore. A lot of them had a lot of good information. I'll leave it at that. Some of them not quite as informative. But when they talk temperature restriction, they talk scallops only. They don't talk about cohogs. They don't talk about, they do talk about culling, they do talk about high grading and different terms, but their major issue is shellfish, for shellfish is scallops, and that scallops won't survive. So having said that, this discussion, I would think, would probably be a benefit to everybody's time and energy if we just limited it to the use of scallop, to the temperature restriction, if any, of scallops. I know we're not having a ban of scallop season here. There are 2 towns, and forgive me if I don't have this correct, but I know it's Falmouth and I know it's Bourne. One is 30 degrees by 10 a.m. The other is 28 degrees by 10 a.m. for scallops only. So having said that, I throw it out for discussion. So the way that works is if it doesn't reach 30 degrees by 10 a.m. by an agreed source, it could be anybody, it could be the thermometer in your backyard. As long as it's the standard that we use, scallops are not open for that day. In one of the other towns, whether it's Bourne or Falmouth, I might have them,
Almost every town has a temperature restriction.
yeah, it's like
Yeah,
28.
I saw like 10 of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that work for enforcement, on your end, as the warden, for you to make the call? Is it,
Yeah, that's not a problem at all. We just decide on what thermometer we're gonna use. Doesn't have to be
right?
NOAA, it doesn't have to be, it could be anybody's thermometer, as long as we use one standard, doesn't matter what it is.
Okay.
Universal.
Let's go in. Why do we even need a temperature restriction?
That's what I was going
For
to.
for scallops.
Well, it
Just
freezes
because another
scallops.
town has it, we don't need it.
No,
Freeze on a
for
table.
scallops.
When you
Yeah,
put it
but
on a table,
Yeah, I get it. but-
flash freeze the scallop seed, that's why they have a temperature on scallop
Right.
seed. But
And
Brad used to give me a hard time a long time ago going cold weather scalloping, because as soon as the seed hits the table, it flash freezes it, you kill it. So that's why the temperature,
Right.
And it's on the buyer's end, it's really not us, it's on that you can't,
Well, it's the seed, you don't want to destroy the seed.
That's why the other towns have that,
Right.
because they get such crops every year, they probably got seed mixed in with their good ones, you know what I mean? So they probably came up with that temperature, so you wouldn't flash freeze them. Our town, I don't know if we have it, I remember 5 years ago, we had that big crop.
Yeah, we had that big crop, but there was no seed.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no seed, but I don't think there was a temperature, because we were going in cold weather.
to your question, Chris, I don't, let's just say for discussion, that we were to say 28 degrees on X thermometer by 10 a.m. That's not a problem for enforcement. You don't get that many days, and usually it's a day that's bit like today. It, barely hit 28 degrees. That's kind of a no-brainer. And to be quite honest, the shellfishes in this river, they know the game. Everybody knows the game, everybody knows the rules, and they know why. It's not like in a place like Bourne or Sandwich that has a huge number of marshes and huge enforceable areas. Even out on a vineyard, Oak Bluffs is a huge area, which they have to, so we have pretty good compliance in this town, and I'm not afraid of that. So, just food for information. What do you, Paul, he made a good point. Thank you, Paul.
It seems to be going along pretty smooth the way it is. We haven't had any problems, and just one more rule is one more rule.
Well, we're open for discussion and open for a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to table this
Till we have a scallop season.
for
Yeah,
further
see how
discussion,
much
because
seed's out there.
we're gonna waste time talking about a temperature restriction on a fishery, we don't know if it exists yet.
Right, when the time arises, we will address it.
Yeah, I think that as soon as we get some feedback from the river that there's some seed in the river, and it looks like we're gonna, because we always know that in the summer.
Yeah.
When you're digging, and I know in the past, whenever we've had those big years, you know in the summer, you're like, oh, boy, it's gonna be a good fall, because they're mixed right in with the cohogs. So you know it.
They were loaded the year before. I mean, my dredge come up and they were right to the Sweet Ball Lake waters. Going back, next year, sure enough, they made it. This year, I didn't find much. I've got 300 scallops so far. That's how I had to count it. I'm up to 300 right now. Nice ones, but it's like I looked all over, and I'm gonna keep looking, but, you know, I stumbled on a little piece. I think the last time I had 130.
Where was that?
You just gotta drive around. This river, you can't hide. You can't hide in this river.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean?
And they
You're
move.
not gonna hide from Rick, I'm saying
Well,
that.
it's not that. Anyway, you know what I mean? There's no hiding, you know?
Paul, so you didn't find a GPS I put on your boat?
No, maybe.
The beacon?
So,
You want to see my phone? You want to know where you were today? No, Mike.
So I got a motion on the table.
I'll second it.
Any discussion, further discussion?
No?
All in
Okay.
favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Tabled.
Mr. Chair, I need to take my leave. Sorry.
Okay, well, thank you, and thank you for your contribution. Yep, we appreciate it. Okay, it's perfect timing. Moving on to number 7, any other items anticipated in the last 48 hours? We have any discussion, anything that needs to be brought forward?
Closing Hicks Bridge.
Okay. You guys got anything you want to talk about?
Hearing none, Bruins are on tonight, by the way. Okay, hearing none, moving on, next meeting date. I think we just put a
2026.
placeholder out there, and we can always change it. I'm sorry, Chris?
2026?
That's the date, baby.
The next scallop season. Let's get our dates out here.
Yes.
Can I just mention something? Today, we were talking to the buyer harvester about cohort seed. And he said up there in Wareham, they use something called a protection bag. And they have to use it because the crabs eat all, if it's the small seed, they get it all. I don't know anything about the protection bag, but I guess with grants, it's a real common thing.
Who is that, Wareham?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wareham,
Vaughan, Wareham.
yeah.
Dole.
I think if we buy seed, we should look into that.
Yeah, he said you definitely have to invest in the
Yeah.
bags if you want, if you're gonna spend the money to buy seed, you have to use the protection bags.
And it was
Good to
Wareham
know.
and who, Bourne?
Thank you, Dean.
Yeah, no, he's trying to help, so.
Yeah, we should research that,
Yeah,
for sure.
I will do that. Could you make a note of that in the minutes? My memory's good, it's just short. Okay, having said that, thank you, Dean. Appreciate that. Date, anyone have a date or a date they'd prefer, just as a placeholder at this point?
Should we move after the holiday season, so we're maybe right after the first of the year?
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, a couple of
About
weeks, it's Christmas, then it's
End of
New Year's.
January?
Yeah, like maybe January, if we stick with a Tuesday, we could do either the 6th or the 13th.
When did he say he was going to find out about that grant? The Mantis grant?
Man,
Oh, he
I
files a
think that was
report.
February, wasn't it?
February? Want to wait till after that?
before April.
Yeah. He has to have the grant in by first of the year or something.
The last installment's on April 1st.
Right, but we have to,
Let's throw a date out there, Rick, of January 13th. If we don't have any agenda items, we can always push it back, but at least
Yeah.
we've got something.
and that's a Tuesday?
That's a Tuesday, 1/13/26.
26th?
113, what'd you say, 13 or 15?
1/13/26.
11326. Okay, that'll be our next meeting tentatively. We can change it if we need to, either one way or another if something comes up. So, having said that, do I entertain a motion to
Well, I'd just like to comment on Bill. I think you're doing a great job contacting the people first before it's too late. You're staying right on top of everything.
He is. He's doing a good job.
noticeable.
Yep.
He hasn't missed a
Yeah.
beat, not even one. I mean, he's doing a really good job.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think. I think Chris did a great job too, but I
Yeah.
think you guys have made the dynamic duo.
Yeah, right on top of
Well,
it. Yeah.
thank you, and
right.
I'll share that with Captain in the morning, and we'll keep marching. I mean, as we have said this before, it's about people that fish this river, but it's also about the river.
Yeah.
And you can put it either way you want, because without one, you don't get the other.
That's right.
So, okay, so adjourn until 1:13,
Yep, I make a
26.
motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Wish everyone a Merry Christmas.